What's up, it's Black here with GameIlluminaughty.com, and today I'm at PAX East and I'm here with
Sam Kim, CEO of En Masse Entertainment.
and today we're going to be talking about Kritika and Tera, right?
That's correct.
Alright, starting off with your new game, Kritika. Tell me about it. What's so special about your new game?
We're calling Kritika a hyper-stylish arcade brawler MMO. So we're taking the action that you'd see in typically the action you'd see in an arcade game, and mashing that together with the depth of an RPG MMO. So community, PvP, PvE, raids, all of that stuff mixed in with a hyper fast-paced action that's all about attack, 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 go, 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 go.
So exactly, how can gamers experience this really fast, really action gameplay?
Well, we have an upcoming beta in May, so players can sign up for the beta and we're giving away codes. So that's one way to play. And we'll be launching the game a couple weeks after, so in the open beta where anyone can sign up and play the game. Game will be free to play, so it's not like there's anything that they need to do, just gotta sign up, download the game, play.
Unlike other MMOs, this game is going to have instances and dungeons, correct?
That's correct.
And that's going to be the main focus throughout each level or each dungeon?
Yeah, the format of Kritika is that it's in bite-sized sessions. There's a persistent lobby where you can collect your quests, kind of customize your characters, build your layout, gather items, auction items. But once you do all of that, you'll be jumping into the gameplay that's all handled in instanced dungeons or instanced arenas or instanced experiences. At launch, we'll have both PvE and PvP experiences.
How big are the party sizes for these instances?
It ranges. So what's great about Kritika is that the dungeons scale based off of the party size. So if you can actually go into the dungeon solo and it'll scale accordingly. Max PvE size for a party is 4, and then on the PvP side, it'll depend on the format, whether it's TDM or capture the flag or arenas. It'll depend on the format.
Will the launch game have raids?
We're looking at epic dungeons, so that'll have a lot of different formats. You can go into like a dungeon with 6 rooms mixed with smaller mobs or big mobs, mini bosses up to the big mob, or dungeons that have different types of experiences like an epic big mob to fight.
When it comes to the items, can you craft and sell them as well?
Yeah, you can. There's an auction house that you can trade with players, so that there's a wide breadth of items that you can build for your character. So an auction house will be very essential to trading and building up to your spec. We have 4 classes at launch, and each of those base 4 classes will have specializations, and then based on the specializations, item sets to match, and on top of that, customization, costuming, things like that. So there's going to be a ton of things, a ton of ways to build out your character.
When the game launches, will it be free to play?
Yes, it will. We're not announcing too much about the monetization model, but one of the things that we're really focused on is making sure that there is no pay gates, that a free player can experience the whole game, and that we're really looking to balance and tweak the monetization so that pay to win isn't a factor. If there's something that's available that'll give you a ton of power in the store, then we're exploring ways to offer something comparable for the free players.
Well, right there you just answered my next question. So I got to ask you, how will customization play with paying for certain things?
Well, there's customization that is completely related to cosmetics. So that'll be separate from your item gear, and that's definitely a wide breadth. It gives you a lot of combinations from gear sets and costuming up. It's like a costume layer on top of that. Beyond that, there's a ton of wide breadth of sets that to play against, once again, your specialization of the classes that you pick. Outside of the 4 classes at launch, we'll be throwing in additional classes really quickly, weeks to months after launch. So there will just be a constant rollout of content, new characters, customization options, items, things like that, dungeons, things like that.
What are the base 4 classes?
We have 4. We have the Scythe. So this lady right here behind us is the Scythe character, and then there's 3 characters that we were actually demoing here. We have actually, here's some of the weapons. We have a swordsman with a ginormous sword. We have a Shadow Mage class that's kind of a mix between, he holds a gun, his main weapon is a gun, but he also summons shadow demons and uses their abilities. So it's like this weird mix of like gun fu and like demonic magic. And then we also have our cat's paw. It's kind of a cute cat character that acts a lot like a fast rogue, does a ton of damage. You're supposed to dash in, kind of claw everything around, and then dash right out. So those are your 4 base classes, and then there's a ton more coming after launch.
All right, thank you. So with that said, let's talk about Tera. So what's the big news about Tera?
So we are super excited to announce that we'll be launching the Xbox and PS4 version of Tera this year. So Tera's action combat is very unique in the sense that it's non-tap target, and really the goal was to take the action you'd see in a console game and put it into a rich, deep MMORPG on PC. Well, now that we're bringing it to console, we really feel like we're taking that true action combat home to where it belongs, on console.
Will the console and the PC ever have crossplay, or will they always be separate?
We're still figuring that out. There's the benefit of, granting benefits and items and bonuses and something for our loyal PC players, but then there's balance. You got to balance that against a new environment, new server. We really think there's this really deep joy and awesome experience of building a new server with the community. So we wouldn't want to ruin it just by having a ton of character transfers coming in. So there's some considerations that we're still working out. But we're committed to making sure our PC players get something, but we're not ruining the experience for our console players.
What do you think is going to draw in a lot of console players?
Well, hopefully so you have the action that you'd see in a console, which is what they're familiar with, but you're marrying that with this crazy, deep, rich, story-filled world that's just huge, right? It's that breadth and that depth that you would get from open world, persistent MMORPG. I think that's the draw for the console players.
When is the console version of Tera coming out?
So we're talking 2017. If I were to say anything else, I have my producer looking at me, so I kind of want to just stay out of trouble and say 2017. From our perspective, I think it's safe to say, from our perspective, the sooner we can provide this for our players, the better. But it is going to take some time. We're working with the development team, not just to do a simple port, but to break down and build from the ground up a new UI, a new way to interface, a new way to manage control so that it feels really, really good on the console.
Will there be button mapping?
There will be options to button map just like any MMORPG, but one of the things that we're really playing around with is Tera's great about action, great about dodging, great about combos. So how can we do that where it's not hyper complex? Because let's face it, a lot of MMORPGs, some classes will end up with like 20, 30 skills. It's how do you boil that down, or how do you create a interface where it maps really smoothly versus like your brain's confused and I don't know which button to press anymore when in the heat of battle.
Will there be mouse and keyboard support on console?
Yeah, console has the USB port, so we'll have that support for the players. But it's kind of what we're coming back to. We really want to work on an interface where we're not forcing players to go to keyboard and mouse. We have that option, but we want to provide this really cool experience for the controller.
Okay. Now, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Is this coming to the Nintendo Switch?
As of now, we are not thinking about Nintendo Switch. The project actually started before the Switch was even announced. And we really want to see how the console players react to the game, how basically what players think. And so we'll start with Xbox and PS4, and if it makes sense, we'll totally do it. But let's start and see.
So no Switch?
No Switch.
All right. With that said, it's Black here with GameIlluminaughty.com, and stay in line, gamers.